Control resources. What are we doing in control resources? We're monitoring physical resource availability, making sure that resources are available when they are needed, and we're also monitoring resource use. We're also performing any corrective action to make sure that resources are available when they need to be available, or they're being used in a more befitting way that corresponds to what we planned in the resource management plan. So our main goal, again, ensuring project resources are made available and are used and monitored as needed. So our first input here is the project management plan. It's got the resource management plan in it. That's why it's here. But of course, it could include, but is not limited to, resource management plan. You could have other plans here. So say the PMI. The next input is project documents. Within these project documents, we could have things like the issue log, a log of issues. If there are issues, we want to know what they are. If there are issues relating to resource usage, resource availability, well, those are fires that need to be put out, and we need to assign someone to put out those fires. We have the lessons learned register. Lessons learned register could be helpful to guide us on what to look out for and how to counteract it as far as controlling resources. We have physical resource assignments. Those physical resource assignments are things we need to track. Project schedule tells us when resources need to be available. We have the resource breakdown structure, which tells us the type of resources, be they human, equipment, material, supplies, and what have you. And we also have the risk register. If there are any risks that are of a resource nature, we want to be checking up on these risks. We want to be making sure that those risks have not happened. And if they have, we want to make sure that those risks are contained. If they are of a resource nature, this is where those are relevant. We have one of our regular suspects here, cross monitoring and controlling. It's called work performance data. These are our raw observations regarding elements of the project, and it's coming in here as an input because this needs to be analyzed. Remember my example of Phil is not available? Well, Phil is a resource. So we need to analyze what the impact of Phil's unavailability really is. What is that going to cause? And on the other end, we're going to have the work performance information, a direct result of the data analysis that we'll carry out on the work performance data. Our next input is agreements. And agreements, be they verbal agreements, written agreements, contracts, whatever, as a project manager, bear in mind, we must always tell the truth. And if a promise is made, we need to deliver that promise. So when we talk about agreements, we're thinking about resources being made available at a particular time as promised. It might even be an external agreement. Maybe someone else made the promise to provide you with certain resources. Well, those agreements should definitely be realized. Last but not least, we have OPAs, and these OPAs are policies relating to how resources will be controlled, the escalation procedures for handling issues when it comes to the resources at play, and any lessons learned. Let's take a look at our tools and techniques. First one is data analysis. We can see we've got work performance data coming in. So obviously we're going to do some sort of analysis on that work performance data as needed. We're also going to have alternatives analysis, looking for alternatives, the best solution to correct variances, the best solution to bounce back. We have another one under data analysis, cost benefit analysis. This helps us ensure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. In other words, we're optimizing the money being spent to make sure we're spending the least amount to get the biggest payoff when it comes to controlling our resources. And when I say controlling our resources, in the event of deviations from the plan, the team definitely needs to carry out this aspect of cost-benefit analysis to bounce back. The next one is performance reviews. performance reviews, we are measuring, comparing, and analyzing what we planned and looking at what exactly was done. We're trying to pinpoint those issues. Remember, the controlling process group processes are where we try our best to pinpoint issues. Project is live, planning is over, and this is where stuff gets corrected. The last one here under data analysis is trend analysis, looking for trends in the data that is available. Trend analysis looks at how the project has been performing over time, and we try to see if things are getting worse or if they're getting better. The next tool and technique here is problem solving. Problem solving could use a variety of tools and techniques to find ways of recovering from any issues relating to resources. How do we solve problems? There are some specific steps the PMI outlines. The first step is identify the problem. Then, second step, define the problem. Break it into smaller, more manageable sub-problems, if you wanted to call it that. Then you investigate, you collect data, you analyze to find the root cause of the problem, and then you solve the problem, and then you check the solution to make sure it was effective. And there are many other methods, but that is a list of steps that you carry out in general. The next tool and technique is interpersonal and team skills. Now, within interpersonal and team skills here, we're talking about negotiating, and this could be negotiating for additional resources, and we also have influencing. Influencing could help the project manager. Remember, leadership is influence. Project management is a hugely leadership-oriented type of job where the project manager should know how to play the leadership and influence cards, right? Let's take a look at our final one here. Our final tool and technique is PMIS, Project Management Information System, and this could be resource management or scheduling software used to monitor resource availability and resource utilization. Let's take a look at our outputs from this process. The first one is work performance information. You got work performance data going in. You're going to get work performance information coming out, right? So based on your analysis of the work performance data, you get work performance information. You now know what fills on availability is truly going to do to the project. The next output is change requests. Change requests can be raised as a result of corrective action that needs to be taken. And this change request, of course, goes through the perform integrated change control process. The next output is project management plan updates. We may need to update our resource management plan with resource related information, and also our schedule and cost baselines may also need to be updated as a result of corrective action that may need to be taken. Our final output is called project documents updates, as if you didn't know it. You could always count on those two to show up. With regards to project documents updates, our assumptions log, our issue log, definitely our lessons learned register, and many more could be updated as a result of this process. You got to use your imagination, folks. When you see PD updates, project documents updates, there's a laundry list of things that could be updated. But the question will always allude to what is being updated. You just need to translate that question into something visual. Take the question, imagine it in the real world, and that will help you as to what the answer is when it comes to these PD updates and PMP updates. And that concludes our control resources process.